Have you ever noticed how the smallest habits, the ones you hardly pay attention to, can quietly build up and turn aging into a maze full of hidden traps? It's not always the big challenges people warn you about. It's those subtle, everyday mistakes that can trip you up when you least expect it. Today, we're uncovering 10 mistakes older adults often make without realizing it. Some might make you smile, others may sting, but all of them can open your eyes. From relying too much on one fragile system in your daily life to something as simple as the forgotten contents of your fridge, these mistakes carry risks you might not see coming. The good news? With a few smart changes, you can avoid these pitfalls and make life smoother, safer, and far more enjoyable. These are lessons that can save you stress, protect your independence, and even prevent a trip to the ER. So let's dive into the first mistake: creating a single point of failure in life, a trap many fall into as the years go by. Building a single point of failure in life can quietly undermine independence. What does that mean? It's when your whole day, or even your ability to live on your own, depends on just one fragile piece falling into place. One house key, one phone charger, one pair of glasses, or even one person you call when things go wrong. If that one thing slips, suddenly, you're stuck. Imagine losing your only house key and standing outside in the rain, looking more like a burglar than a homeowner. Or breaking your only pair of glasses and squinting at the TV, unsure if you're watching the evening news or staring at a weather map. It's rarely the big disasters that get us. It's the small, overlooked details that hit the hardest. Take Walter, for instance. He relied on a single phone charger, treating it like a prized possession, carrying it everywhere. One night, his phone died, and the charger had vanished. What happened next? He ended up at Walmart in the middle of the night, in his pajamas, muttering at USB cords like they were ancient relics. Independence doesn't feel so strong when a missing charger sends you scrambling. The truth is, when you live alone, these small hiccups can feel 10 times bigger. Without backup, even a minor inconvenience can quickly turn into a crisis. When you live alone, there isn't someone in the next room to toss you a spare key, hand you a charger, or lend you their glasses. You're your own safety net, and that's why redundancy matters. You don't need to stockpile like you're building a bunker, but doubling up on essentials can prevent life from grinding to a halt. Spare keys, extra chargers, and a backup pair of glasses. These are lifelines. And it's not just about physical items. If the only person you rely on in an emergency is your son who lives 3 states away, that's still a single point of failure. What if he's unreachable? You need options: a neighbor's number, a friend nearby, even a taxi app ready to use. Think of it this way: depending on just one thing is like walking a tightrope with no net. Building redundancy is like crossing a sturdy bridge with handrails. The truth is, future you will misplace, forget, or drop something. That's human. So prepare now to make sure those moments become small hiccups, not major meltdowns. With backups in place, you're not just surviving, you're thriving, ready for whatever life throws your way. Some days, you might coast along barely speaking to anyone beyond a quick paper or plastic at the grocery store, convincing yourself you're fine. Weeks can pass like this, and it feels okay, until it doesn't. Loneliness slips in quietly, like a cold draft under the door, and suddenly it catches you off guard. When that happens, many swing to the opposite extreme, cramming the calendar with lunches, phone calls, church gatherings, even volunteer shifts, almost like becoming the mayor of the whole town. But here's the problem. Neither extreme is healthy. Those quiet weeks, the famine, slowly chip away at your spirit in ways you barely notice at first. Maybe you're watching too much TV, napping longer, or convincing yourself, I don't really need anyone. Then a holiday, a birthday, or even a random Tuesday comes, and it hits you hard. You don't just miss people, you feel invisible. That thought is dangerous, even if it feels real in the moment. Then comes the feast. You pile on 3 lunches in a week, endless calls, and every event you can find. At first it feels exciting, like you've jumped back into life, but the crash is just around the corner. Exhaustion sets in, plans get canceled, and before you know it, you're right back in famine mode, caught in the same lonely cycle. Take Ruth, age 69, as an example. She thought she was fine until Thanksgiving arrived. That night, she sat alone with a frozen dinner, crying through an old movie. The following week, she overfilled her calendar with 4 outings, 2 church meetings, and even a book club she hadn't prepared for. By the end, she felt like she'd run a marathon in slippers. Here's the truth. Social contact is like water or vitamins. You don't need it all at once. You need it consistently. A little bit each day is what keeps your emotional health steady and your spirit strong. It could be just a 10-minute phone call, a quick chat with your neighbor while watering plants, or even sending a funny meme to your grandson. These small moments may not seem like much, but they are powerful. They push loneliness away and make those overwhelming bursts of social activity unnecessary. Think of it as emotional nutrition. A steady dose of connection keeps you strong, while binging leaves you drained. Instead of letting loneliness pile up like dirty dishes, sprinkle little interactions into your daily routine. They don't need to be long or loud, just consistent. That's how you break the cycle, stay connected, and keep your heart lighter each day. Now, let's talk about another hidden danger: treating paperwork like a landmine. Nobody retires dreaming of endless medical forms, billing statements, or piles of junk mail. Yet ignoring paperwork is like ignoring weeds in your garden. Turn away for a couple of weeks, and suddenly everything is overgrown, a chaotic mess staring you down. The problem isn't that seniors don't want to deal with it, it's that paperwork feels like a landmine. You glance at that stack of envelopes and can't tell which one is harmless and which one might explode with stress. So you avoid it, hoping it will sort itself out. But here's the risk. The longer you wait, the more likely you'll miss something important. Just ask Frank, 77, who learned that lesson the hard way. Frank's kitchen table was buried under a mountain of unopened mail, a pile that looked like it belonged in an archaeological dig. Hidden inside was a notice about his supplemental insurance. By the time he found it, the payment deadline had passed. One missed bill, and his policy lapsed. What followed was weeks of stressful phone calls and endless frustration, all because a single envelope got lost in the paper jungle. The truth is, paperwork weighs more on your mind than it does in reality. That unopened envelope nags louder than a dripping faucet, whispering, "You're behind. You're missing something. This will cost you." Even if it's just a coupon, the not knowing eats away at you, adding stress you don't need. The good news is you don't need to be an accountant to fix it. It's about building a rhythm. Set a day, a place, and a routine. Picture this. Every Friday morning, you pour a cup of coffee, sit down, and sort the stack. Bills, forms, letters, all handled in one calm session. When you're finished, the relief is like clearing clutter not just from your table, but from your mind. And here's what people rarely say out loud. Paperwork is independence. Let too many bills slide, miss an insurance payment, or forget a prescription refill, and suddenly you're relying on others to fix problems you could have managed yourself. Staying on top of it is your way of saying, "I'm still the CEO of my life." Think of paperwork like steering a ship. You can ignore the wheel for a while, but sooner or later, you'll crash into the rocks. A little attention each week keeps you sailing smoothly. It's not about loving the task, it's about keeping your life on course, one envelope at a time. Now let's talk about another hidden danger: walking on borrowed legs. Balance is a sneaky thief. You don't notice it fading until one day you're grabbing the wall just to steady yourself on the way to the bathroom. It's not that you've suddenly turned clumsy. With age, muscles weaken, reflexes slow, and even eyesight starts working against you. If you ignore the signs, your legs stop being loyal friends and start acting like unreliable renters, sometimes steady, sometimes shaky, and you never know which version will show up. Too many older adults brush it off with excuses. "I just tripped on the rug," or "It was dark in the bathroom." But here's the truth. One fall can change your life in an instant. A broken hip isn't just painful. It can steal your independence for weeks or even months. I've seen people go from strong and self-reliant to needing daily help, all because of one fall they dismissed as nothing. Take Elaine, for example. She loved her cozy socks, padding around her tile floors as if she were in a ski lodge. Elaine's cozy socks felt harmless until the slip came. One moment of lost balance, one sprained wrist, and suddenly she needed help with groceries, cooking, even simple things like turning a doorknob. Later, she admitted the fall itself wasn't the scariest part. It was the sudden dependence on others that shook her most. A fall is never just about hitting the ground. It's about what it takes away. The freedom to move confidently through your kitchen, the comfort of showering without fear, the trust in your own body to carry you through the day. That's why treating balance and mobility as an afterthought is such a costly mistake. They aren't extras, they're essentials. Keeping your legs strong and your balance steady isn't about vanity. It's survival. Because in old age, steady steps are the ticket to staying independent longer than most people imagine. The decline is subtle. Muscles weaken, reflexes slow, eyesight fades. You don't notice at first, until you're reaching for the wall or hesitating at the shower door. Ignoring these signs is like ignoring the check engine light on your car. You might keep going for a while, but trouble is on the horizon. The good news is, the fix isn't complicated. It just requires intention. Simple exercises like standing on one leg or walking heel to toe can do wonders to strengthen your balance. Trade those cozy socks for shoes with good grip, especially on tile floors. Add grab bars in the bathroom and brighter lights in hallways. They may not be glamorous changes, but they are lifesavers. Think of it like maintaining a house you plan to live in forever. You wouldn't let the foundation crack without repair, so why ignore the foundation of your body, your legs, and balance? Too many people lose their independence because they dismissed one fall as no big deal. Elaine's sprained wrist was a wake-up call, but it didn't have to happen. A sturdier pair of shoes or a few minutes of balance practice could have kept her steady. The truth is, falls don't just bruise your body, they bruise your confidence. You begin second-guessing each step, wondering if the next slip is around the corner. That's no way to live. Make balance your top priority. Do simple strengthening moves like squats or chair stands a few times a week. Scan your home for hazards, loose rugs, dim corners, clutter that invites trouble. And don't dismiss those small stumbles. They're not random, they're warnings. Every confident step you take is a step toward preserving your independence. In old age, strong legs and sharp balance aren't luxuries. They are your lifeline to living life on your terms for as long as possible. Let's talk about a sneaky trap that catches many older adults living alone: playing fridge roulette. Open the door, and instead of a stocked kitchen, it looks more like a dig site. A container of something vaguely beige from last week, a mustard jar older than your grandkids, and a mystery box you'd rather not investigate. That's fridge roulette, and it's risky. Here's how it happens. Living alone often means you're not cooking full meals every day. Leftovers start to pile up, staying longer than they should. And because tossing food feels wasteful, you convince yourself it's probably fine. But probably fine is a dangerous gamble. It has sent more seniors racing to the bathroom than anyone wants to admit. Food poisoning isn't just a bad night. It can dehydrate you, land you in the hospital, and take days to recover. At an older age, even a simple stomach bug can become a serious threat. Take George, 81, who used to boast about his iron stomach. He laughed when I warned him about old takeout. 2 days later, he was on the bathroom floor, weak as a kitten, admitting, "Turns out my stomach's more aluminum than iron these days." The culprit? Leftovers that sat too long. That's the reality. Our bodies don't bounce back like they did at 40. What used to be just a rough night can become a serious setback at 75. But there's a deeper layer people often overlook. A cluttered, chaotic fridge isn't only a health hazard. It's an emotional drain. Every time you open that door and see the mess, It's like a small reminder that you're behind, wasteful, or disorganized. That fleeting sense of, chips away at your mood day after day. On the other hand, a clean fridge filled with food you trust makes you feel cared for, even if you're the one doing the caring. It's a simple shift that carries real weight. This isn't just about tossing out old leftovers. It's about designing your kitchen to support you, not sabotage you. A tidy fridge says, "I've got this." A messy one whispers, "You're gambling with your health." And let's be honest, roulette belongs in Vegas, not your kitchen. That's why building a simple routine makes all the difference. Once a week, take a few minutes to check your fridge, clear out anything expired or questionable, and organize what's left. Keep fresh, safe food that you know you can rely on. It's not about perfection. It's about control. A well-kept fridge not only protects your health, it also lifts your spirits and strengthens your independence. Because when your kitchen is in order, you're not just avoiding a stomach bug, you're reclaiming peace of mind. You're creating a space that tells you every day, "I've got this." Now let's talk about another hidden danger, treating technology like a moody teenager. It's supposed to make life easier, right? Yet for many seniors, it feels unpredictable. Sometimes it works perfectly. Other times, it locks you out without reason. The mistake is avoiding tech altogether or assuming that if it works today, it will keep working forever. The truth is, when you live alone, technology is your lifeline. Your phone isn't just for calls. It's your safety net, your calendar, your way to connect with family, your entertainment, and even your backup plan in emergencies. But if you treat it like a mystery box you're afraid to touch, you're setting yourself up for trouble. Take Na, 70, for example. She got a text that looked like it was from her delivery service. It wasn't. She clicked the link, entered her details, and within hours, her bank was sending fraud alerts. Thankfully, she didn't lose money, but she lost a week untangling passwords and freezing accounts. And it wasn't because she wasn't smart. She simply treated her phone like magic that should always work, instead of a tool that needs attention and care. The real danger lies in ignoring updates, reusing the same password everywhere, or skipping backups. Those small oversights turn into cracks in your lifeline. One glitch, one scam, and suddenly you're cut off from family, bank accounts, even emergency contacts. Imagine needing help, but your phone is locked, dead, or compromised. That's not just inconvenient, it's unsafe. The truth is, most seniors don't avoid technology because they can't learn it, but because it feels overwhelming, like it's changing too fast to keep up. But here's the good news. You don't need to be a tech expert to stay safe. All it takes is a simple rhythm. Update your devices once a month. Write passwords in a notebook kept in one safe place. Learn to spot scam red flags. If a message tries to scare or pressure you, it's fake. These small habits turn your phone from a moody teenager into a reliable partner. Technology is here to stay, and embracing even the basics can make it empowering instead of intimidating. Independence isn't just about walking or driving anymore. It's about clicking, swiping, and calling without fear. A little effort today keeps you connected and in control tomorrow. So don't let technology intimidate you. Use it wisely, and it becomes a strong lifeline that supports your independence. Now, let's talk about another hidden danger: leaving your house in young person mode. Too many of us carry the blueprint of our home from when we were 40. Back then, steep stairs were no big deal. Rugs just made things cozy, and bathtubs didn't feel like slick traps. But here's the truth. Houses don't age with us. The same stairs, the same rugs, the same dim hallways stay put, while our knees, hips, and balance start to complain. I once heard about a gentleman in his 70s who had lived in the same two-story house since college. For decades, those stairs were nothing. He carried groceries, laundry, even furniture up and down without a second thought. But one morning, half awake and wearing socks, he slipped, fell, and cracked 3 ribs. He said it wasn't even a dramatic fall, more like sitting down too fast and too hard. That moment changed everything. Suddenly, stairs weren't just stairs anymore. They became a daily gamble, a reminder that his body no longer moved like it used to. Living in young person mode means pretending you're as spry as you were, ignoring what your body is telling you. And that's a dangerous game. One fall can steal not only your health, but also your independence. I've seen it happen. Friends who were active and self-reliant suddenly needing daily help with basic tasks, all because they brushed off warning signs. The solution isn't glamorous, but it's effective. Install grab bars in the shower, place non-slip mats on slick floors, brighten dim hallways, or even move your bedroom downstairs to avoid risky stair climbs. I know, it doesn't sound exciting. But you know what really is? Living independently without a trip to the ER. It's like admitting you need reading glasses. At first, you resist, thinking, "Oh no, I'm getting old." But the moment you put them on and read the menu without squinting, you realize how much better life feels. Home adjustments work the same way. Practical, empowering, and life-changing. They're small, unglamorous tweaks, but they quietly buy you years of independence. A grab bar may never win a design award, yet it lets you shower with confidence. A well-lit hallway might not impress the neighbors, but it prevents a late-night stumble. The truth is, your home has to evolve with you. Ignoring that is like gambling with your safety every single day. Look around your space. Replace that slippery throw rug with something that grips. Add lights where shadows lurk. Turn your house into a partner, not a hazard. When your home supports your body, you're not just staying safe, you're preserving the freedom to live life on your terms. Now let's talk about another hidden danger: cutting the micro-delight budget. This sneaky mistake robs seniors in the cruelest way. Somewhere along the line, many decide, "I don't need little treats anymore. I'll save my money for the serious stuff." But without realizing it, they've cut away the tiny joys that make a day feel like more than chores and TV reruns. It's like eating ice cream without sprinkles. Yes, it works, but isn't life brighter with the sprinkles? I once knew a lady named Margaret who slipped into this trap. Margaret once treated herself to a simple manicure each month. Nothing extravagant, just a bit of polish that always lifted her spirits. After her husband passed, she decided to be responsible and cut what she called unnecessary costs. First went the nail visits, then her occasional cafe breakfasts, and eventually even her favorite scented candles. The result? She wasn't broke, but her days grew dull, as if the color drained away one shade at a time. She didn't just lose her small luxuries, she lost the spark that kept her going. Here's the truth. It's not grand vacations or expensive gadgets that carry you through old age. It's the micro delights, that muffin you anticipate every Friday, a piece of chocolate that feels too fancy for every day but lights up your mood the moment you unwrap it, a magazine subscription you secretly devour cover to cover. These little joys are anchors, steadying your days and keeping routine from feeling like a gray blur. Cutting them out is like cutting off oxygen. You may think you're being practical, but in reality, you're starving your spirit. By this stage of life, you've earned the right to these simple joys. A small bouquet on the kitchen table isn't wasteful. It's therapy. A square of good chocolate isn't indulgence. It's fuel for the soul. These tiny sparks of joy turn a rainy, quiet Tuesday into something bearable, even beautiful. They aren't just treats, they're lifelines. So if you ever catch yourself saying, "I don't need that anymore," pause and ask, "Does this make me happy?" If the answer is yes, it belongs in your budget. It's about realizing that small joys are as essential as paying the bills. That muffin, that candle, that magazine, they're the sprinkles on life's ice cream. They may seem tiny, but they keep your days colorful and vibrant. Hold on to them, and even the quietest moments feel warmer, brighter, and far more alive. Now let's talk about another mistake: refusing to ask for help until it turns into a crisis. Picture this. You're struggling to haul a heavy grocery bag up the front steps, your knees creaking like an old chair. A neighbor is just a shout away, sitting on their porch with a cup of coffee, ready to lend a hand. But instead of calling out, you grit your teeth and whisper, "I've got this," as you wrestle with the bag. Why? Because asking for help feels like waving a white flag that says you can't handle life anymore. For many of us, that instinct to push through alone runs deep. It comes from an era when independence was everything. But here's the truth. Waiting until things spiral out of control is one of the biggest mistakes older adults make when living alone. Maybe you feel a sharp twinge in your back, but brush it off, promising yourself a few days of rest. Then weeks later, you're on the floor, clutching your phone, dialing 911 because your back finally gave out while bending to pick up a sock. Or you see your fridge growing emptier by the day, thinking you'll shop tomorrow. But when your car won't start, you're stuck eating crackers for dinner 3 nights in a row. These aren't harmless slip-ups. They're the kind of small oversights that snowball into emergencies, threatening the very independence you've worked so hard to protect. And the driving force behind it? Pride. We grew up in a world where self-reliance was the gold standard. For many, asking for help feels like admitting you're no longer as capable as you once were, as if you're handing over control of your own life. And then comes the fear of being a burden. You imagine your kids rolling their eyes thinking, "Here goes mom needing something again." Or you worry your neighbors will whisper, "Poor Joe can't manage on his own anymore." So you stay quiet, convincing yourself you'll figure it out, until you can't. But here's the truth. That silence doesn't just hold you back. It sets you up for bigger problems down the line. Take Clara, 74, who lives alone in a cozy little bungalow. She began having dizzy spells but didn't want to trouble her daughter, who lived just 10 minutes away. Clara told herself, "I'll rest, drink some water, and it will pass." But one morning, while making coffee, she blacked out, hit her head on the counter, and woke up to paramedics standing in her kitchen. Her daughter was frantic, asking, "Mom, why didn't you tell me you weren't feeling well? I could have taken you to the doctor." That fall didn't just leave Clara with a bruise. It shook her confidence and left her family terrified. All because she waited until a crisis forced her to speak up. Now, here's the part nobody really says out loud. Most people want to help. Your kids, your neighbors, even folks at the senior center would rather bring you a carton of milk or drive you to the pharmacy than get a call from the hospital saying you've broken your hip. The real problem isn't that help isn't there. It's the story we tell ourselves, that asking makes us weak. But the truth is the exact opposite. Waiting until you're in crisis is what creates a burden, dragging everyone into emergency mode with frantic phone calls and hospital runs. Asking early, something as simple as, "Can you grab me some bread when you're at the store?" That's not weakness. That's wisdom. I remember my neighbor Tom, who once admitted over the fence, "I don't ask for help because I'm afraid people will think I'll need it all the time." I told him, "That's like refusing to put gas in your car because you're worried it'll run out again. Help is fuel. Top off early and you won't stall in the middle of nowhere." He laughed, but the next week he asked me to pick up some batteries while I was out. Small favor, no drama. And he felt lighter, almost proud. So how do you break this habit? Start small. Don't wait for a crisis. If your knees ache, ask a neighbor to grab that loaf of bread. If paperwork is piling up, let a grandchild help you sort it. These little asks aren't signs of weakness. They're proof you're staying in control before things get out of hand. Build yourself a small support network. Your kids, a friend down the street, even a kind neighbor from church. These aren't people taking over your life. They're your pit crew, making sure you can stay in the race. And here's the key. Asking for help isn't helplessness, it's strategy. Think of it like hiring a plumber to fix a leak. You could wrestle with it for hours, or let someone with the right tools fix it in minutes. If the thought of being a burden still nags at you, shift the balance. Offer something small in return. Maybe bake a batch of cookies for the neighbor who carried your groceries, or share a funny story with your grandchild who helped sort your mail. It's not about keeping score, it's about making the exchange uplifting for both sides. Here's the deeper truth. When you live alone, even small problems can feel overwhelming because there's no one in the next room to lean on. That's why asking early is like putting up a safety net. It doesn't mean you're falling. It means you're wise enough to prepare. I once knew Harold, 82, who prided himself on never needing anyone. One icy winter, he decided to shovel his driveway alone. He slipped, sprained his ankle, and spent days stuck inside, living on canned soup because he couldn't get to the store. When his son found out, he was upset. Not because Harold needed help, but because he hadn't asked. A simple call to a neighbor could have spared him a week of misery. The truth is, independence doesn't mean doing everything alone. It's about knowing when to bring in support so you can keep living life on your terms. Asking for help isn't surrender. It's taking charge and ensuring you stay that way. So here's a pact. The next time you catch yourself saying, "I'll deal with it tomorrow," stop and reach out. Make that small ask. It could be the difference between a simple inconvenience and a major crisis. What's one thing you can do today? Maybe save your neighbor's number in your phone, or call a family member and say, "Can you help me sort out this new bill?" Start small. You'll be surprised at how much lighter life feels with a little backup. Because the real strength isn't in struggling silently, it's in building a safety net that keeps you confident and secure. Now, let's move to another common trap: being a one-doctor town. Picture yourself sitting in the same office you visited since your children were in diapers. The walls are lined with familiar diplomas, and your doctor already knows your quirks, like how you always joke about your creaky knees before they even check the chart. It feels safe, almost like home, and that kind of trust is priceless. But here's the quiet mistake few people mention: relying on one doctor as if they're the only chef in town who can cook your health just right. Medicine today is far too complex for one person to cover it all. Depending solely on a single doctor, no matter how good, can mean missing out on care that could make a real difference. Imagine this. You've been seeing Dr. Smith since your 20s. He's helped you through colds, sprains, and that time you mistook heartburn for a heart attack. He knows your stories, your worries, even your favorite fishing tales. But with age, new concerns appear. A foggy memory, a stubborn ache, or a heart that's acting up. You mention it, and he says, "That's just aging." You nod, trusting him. But what if it isn't? What if a specialist could spot something early and treat it? Staying with one doctor out of loyalty is like eating at the same diner every day. The meatloaf is comforting, sure, but sometimes your body needs something else. Sushi, Thai, or barbecue. And this isn't just a metaphor, it's a real risk. My friend Ed, 76, found that out the hard way after sticking with the same general practitioner for 40 years. When Ed started forgetting little things, like where he parked his car, his doctor brushed it off with, "Happens to everyone your age." Ed trusted him, so he let it go. But his daughter wasn't convinced. She urged him to see a neurologist, and the tests revealed early signs of dementia. That second opinion changed everything. With the right medication, he slowed the progression and gained years of clearer thinking and better days. If Ed had stayed in his one-doctor town, he might have missed that crucial window. And here's why this matters, especially when you live alone. Your body at this stage is like a classic car, still running but needing more than one mechanic to stay in shape. A general practitioner is perfect for checkups, but they can't catch every specialized issue. That nagging chest pain? It could need a cardiologist. Ongoing sleep troubles? A sleep specialist might help. Even a pharmacist can point out, "Hey, are these two medications working well together?" Relying on one doctor leaves blind spots, and in older age, blind spots quickly turn into real danger. A misdiagnosis or untreated condition can mean hospital stays, unnecessary medications, or even losing the independence you've worked so hard to protect. I get it. Branching out feels disloyal. You don't want to hurt Dr. Smith's feelings after decades of trust. Or maybe specialists sound complicated or costly. But building a small healthcare team isn't replacing your doctor. It's protecting yourself. Think of it this way. You wouldn't rely on one mechanic to handle your car's engine, tires, and paint job. So why expect one doctor to manage your heart, brain, joints, and everything else? A team approach means more eyes on your health, catching problems early before they steal your freedom. So how do you step out of the one doctor town? Start small. The next time your GP brushes off a symptom, simply ask, "Could I see a specialist for this?" Most doctors are glad to refer you. It's not an insult, it's teamwork. And don't overlook your pharmacist. They're often the quiet heroes who spot drug interactions before they cause real trouble. If cost worries you, check your insurance. Many plans cover specialists with a referral. And never be afraid of second opinions. It's not doubting your doctor, it's double-checking your health, just like getting a second quote for a home repair. Take my neighbor Linda, 80. She struggled with knee pain for years. Her GP kept handing her the same painkillers, but the ache stole her joy of gardening. Finally, she visited an orthopedic specialist who recommended physical therapy instead of pills. 6 months later, Linda was back planting roses with a smile. That specialist didn't just fix her knee, she gave Linda her spark back. Living alone, those small joys are what keep you going, and you deserve every chance to hold on to them. The truth is, your health is simply too big for one person to manage. Building a healthcare team isn't about distrust, it's about empowerment. It's you saying, "I'm taking charge of my body so I can keep living my life." So take one step today. Maybe it's asking about a specialist for that lingering cough. Or maybe it's simply checking in with your pharmacist about your medications. Whatever it is, don't let loyalty to one doctor stop you from getting the care you truly need. So there you have it. 10 sneaky mistakes that can quietly creep up as we age, along with simple ways to avoid them for a smoother, safer, and more independent life. I hope this video brought you not only a few smiles, but also some moments of reflection and practical tips you can start using right away. Now, I'd love to hear from you. What's one lesson from today that you're ready to put into practice? Maybe it's keeping a spare key, staying on top of paperwork, or giving yourself permission to enjoy those little daily joys. Share your thoughts in the comments. Your story might inspire someone else. Stay safe, stay strong, and remember, every small step you take today adds up to a healthier tomorrow. Wishing you good health, happiness, and peace. And don't forget to subscribe to my channel, Healthy Aging Blueprint.